Liverpool plan to submit record-breaking bid to sign Alexander Isak. Liverpool have reportedly made their first approach to sign Alexander Isak from Newcastle United and could now break the British transfer record for a second time this summer. Liverpool make first approach to sign Isak. Whilst the initial consensus was reportedly that Newcastle United's attempted move to sign Hugo Ekitike would not leave the door ajar for Isak's exit, Liverpool didn't seem to receive that message. Now, according to David Ornstein, the Reds have made their first approach to sign the Swede in another big money deal. As things stand, Newcastle's stance, as it has always been, is that Isak is not for sale. But Liverpool's decision to make their approach may yet have loosened their grip on one of the Premier League's hottest talents. From not for sale, a record-breaking £120 million price tag has now been mooted, which could hand Liverpool the encouragement they need. Liverpool's admiration for Isak is far from new, and it certainly isn't a surprise. If there was a weakness in Arne Slot's Premier League winning side last season, it came in the number 9 role, as Luis Diaz was often forced to play out of position to lead the line, and Darwin Nunez continued to struggle. Now that both have been linked with moves away to Bayern Munich, and now AC Milan respectively, however, Liverpool may finally have the funds and room to welcome the ultimate solution to their striker problem. In one summer, the Reds could go from Diaz, Nunez, and Mohamed Salah to arguably the world's best trio in Florian Wirtz, Isak, and Salah. There's still a long way to go before Isak becomes Liverpool's next no.9 comma, but that's not to say Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes don't already have their next trick plan. What Liverpool plan to do next in Isak chase? According to Fabrizio Romano, Liverpool will for sure submit a club record bid to sign Isak this summer and follow up their initial approach. The Swede is their dream target in a deal that could reportedly cost in the region of £120 million. Romano said on his YouTube channel, "For sure, Liverpool want to try for their dream target with an eventual club record bid. Liverpool have intention to try, and they made an approach with Newcastle." The transfer specialist then went on to reveal that if Liverpool fail in their pursuit of Isak, then their attention will turn back towards Ekitike. The Eintracht Frankfurt striker has been the subject of a £60M plus bid by Newcastle. But the Magpies could now be facing a lose-lose situation up against the Reds in a ruthless mood. As the season approaches and the transfer window progresses, both forwards are likely to steal plenty more headlines. As things stand, however, in a transfer battle between Liverpool and Newcastle, it seems as though the Premier League champions have the edge. Arsenal make major breakthrough in Ethan Nwaneri contract talks. Arsenal's teenage sensation Ethan Nwaneri is reportedly close to signing a long-term contract amid uncertainty surrounding his future. The 18-year-old enjoyed a fine breakout campaign for the Gunners last season as he scored 9 goals in 37 appearances across all competitions. However, there has been speculation that Nwaneri could leave Mikel Arteta's side, with his existing deal set to expire next summer. This has only been fueled by the impending arrival of Noni Madueke from Chelsea, as well as Arsenal's strong interest in Crystal Palace's Eberechi Eze, both of whom Nwaneri may find himself competing for a position with. Nevertheless, the Hale End graduate appears determined for his place at Arsenal, with contract talks gathering pace, as Nwaneri signals his commitment to his boyhood club. The England under-21 international's priority was always to stay in North London, according to The Athletic. Arsenal are reportedly in the final stages of talks with Ethan Nwaneri over a new contract. There have been doubts about Nwaneri's future, as his current deal expires next summer. But the 18-year-old is fully committed to fighting for a long-term place at his boyhood club. It is understood that Nwaneri, who played almost 1,400 minutes in all competitions last season, did not make any demands regarding his playing time during recent negotiations. Mail Sport reported last week that Arsenal hope they can convince the player to stay by offering him a 5-year contract or a 4-year deal with an option for a further year to be included. Arteta and sporting director Andrea Berta are said to remain positive that an agreement can be reached, while Nwaneri's team are also keen on finding common ground. Should that be the case and Nwaneri were to end up signing a new contract, he would be the 3rd Arsenal player to commit their long-term future to the club this summer. They have already seen fellow youngster Miles Lewis-Skelly sign a new contract that will keep him at the club until 2030. Fellow defender Gabriel has also put pen to paper on a new deal that will see him stay in M5 until 2029. Nwaneri joined Arsenal's academy at the age of 8. At just 15 years and 181 days old, he became the youngest ever player to feature in the Premier League when he came on against Brentford in 2022. Since then, he has made 39 senior appearances in total and scored 9 goals. Newcastle issues instant response to Liverpool transfer approach for Alexander Isak. Liverpool has confirmed its interest in signing Alexander Isak from Newcastle as Arne Slot prioritizes a new number 9 to add to his title-winning squad at Anfield. Newtown, Alexander Isak has been linked with a move to Liverpool. Newcastle maintains that Alexander Isak is not for sale this summer, despite Liverpool confirming its interest in a blockbuster swoop for the Swedish striker. Despite already spending almost $250 million on the likes of Florian Wirtz, Milos Kerkez, and Jeremy Frimpong, Liverpool's recruitment team is far from done and is now prioritizing a new number 9 before the start of the Premier League campaign. Isak has been linked with Liverpool before when Jurgen Klopp pushed for the signing of Darwin Nunez instead, and has remained on the radar, scoring twice against the Reds last season, including in the Carabao Cup final. According to The Athletic, Liverpool has not yet made a formal bid for the striker, but have approached Newcastle with interest about striking an agreement for $161 million. Yet the Telegraph reports that Newcastle is holding firm in its message that Isak is not for sale. It is claimed that the Magpies feel Liverpool's inquiry is a ploy to upset the striker, who is not pushing for a move at this stage. AC Milan table offer for Liverpool striker Nunez. AC Milan table offer for Liverpool striker Nunez. AC Milan have made a move to trump Napoli for Liverpool striker Darwin Nunez. Al Hilal are also interested in the Uruguay international, who is available from the Premier League champions for €70 million. Saudi media sources state Al Hilal are turning to Nunez as an alternative to Victor Osimhen, who is available from Napoli after last season's loan with Galatasaray. However, Milan have made a first move, offering €60 million for Nunez in recent days. The proposal was immediately rejected by Liverpool. For their part, Napoli have been pushing to agree terms for Euro 50-55 AM, though Liverpool are standing by their current €70 million valuation. Liverpool slap huge asking price on Harvey Elliott amid West Ham interest in double Anfield swoop. Liverpool want £50 million, $67 million, to sell Harvey Elliott this summer amid interest from West Ham, per a new report. Liverpool asking for major fee. West Ham eyeing move for England. U21 star, also interested in Tyler Morton. What happened? Per the Daily Mail, Liverpool want £50 million for Elliott, but would accept a fee of £40 million, $54 million, for the England under-21 international if a buyback clause were to be included. West Ham are interested in signing the midfielder, and also have interest in his Reds teammate Tyler Morton. The bigger picture. West Ham are keen to strengthen and reinvest following the sale of Mohamed Kudus to Tottenham. The Irons are flush with cash, but the Reds are also aware of it, meaning their negotiating position has been strengthened somewhat. Elliott, though, struggled for minutes last season and only managed to make 2 Premier League starts. Did you know? Morton is also an England U21 international, and he made 5 first-team appearances for the club last season, although none of them came in the Premier League. He has previously been on loan at Hull City and Blackburn Rovers. What next? Liverpool play their next preseason game against AC Milan on July 26th. Whether Elliott and Morton are involved remains to be seen. What £86 million Hugo Ekitike talks mean for Alexander Isak's future at Newcastle United? Newcastle United have contacted Hugo Ekitike's agents over a possible move to the club in a deal worth £86 million. Leaving fans wondering what will happen to Alexander Isak. Fans were shocked to learn Eddie Howe and his recruitment team were so intent on signing the Frenchman who brutally rejected them in 2022. Hugo Ekitike snubbed Newcastle United for Paris Saint-Germain in the end, but his time at the French Giants was underwhelming due to the presence of players like Lionel Messi, Neymar, and Kylian Mbappe. However, it is commonly known Newcastle are now looking for a striker following the departure of Callum Wilson after 5 seasons, and they believe Ekitike fits the bill. Newcastle have contacted Ekitike's agent over his availability, as they believe he is the right person to come in and replace Wilson, young, dynamic, and experienced at 23. With Ekitike a clear target for the Magpies, it begs the question of what will happen with Alexander Isak if he signs. A new report has laid out the plans, and it is good news for Newcastle fans. Alexander Isak will not leave Newcastle United if Hugo Ekitike signs. The future of Isak has been in question for fans outside of Newcastle, but the Geordies are fully aware of how Eddie Howe feels about the Swede. Reports suggest Isak could sign for Liverpool this summer, but those reports are not to be believed. According to The Telegraph, Newcastle want to sign Ekitike to play alongside Isak, rather than as a replacement or second choice to him. Newcastle missed out on signing João Pedro, who scored in Sunday's Club World Cup final against PSG. A similar plan was in place for those two as well, with someone dropping out of the starting 11 for Howe to play two strikers. Despite links with Ekitike, Newcastle fans would rather sign Yohan Wissa from Brentford. The 28-year-old will cost significantly less than Ekitike and has already proven he can perform in the Premier League. It remains to be seen which striker they finally opt for. Who would drop out of the starting mum if Hugo Ekitike joined Newcastle United? Having missed out on him 3 years ago, fans would still be delighted to welcome another promising young striker to Tyneside, a player who will likely be part of the team for many years to come. The deal for Ekitike could not be done back then, but surely all will be forgiven if he decides to make the move in 2025. With Howe eager to use him alongside Isak, someone will have to give up their place in Newcastle's starting lineup. This summer proves more difficult to change the squad around, as there is much more quality than there was a couple of years ago. Anthony Elanga has just joined Newcastle, and the likes of Bruno Guimaraes and Sandro Tonali will be reluctant to move after having a brilliant season. Weighing up the options, the player most likely to leave the starting white would be Joelinton. The Brazilian was taken out of the squad at the back end of last season due to a knee injury, but is now back and available for the new season. Joelinton admitted his injury troubles were very difficult, and he may now be reduced to a squad player if Ekitike moves to Tyneside. Howe could still have another trick up his sleeve, which sees them both able to play at the same time. But Joelinton will be the most likely casualty from the deal. Chelsea versus PSG Club World Cup final full-time chaos as Luis Enrique and João Pedro clash. Chelsea beat Paris Saint-Germain to win the Club World Cup, but ugly scenes after the full-time whistle marred their triumph. Luis Enrique and João Pedro clashed after Chelsea won the Club World Cup. Paris Saint-Germain head coach Luis Enrique appeared to strike Chelsea forward João Pedro in the aftermath of the Blues being crowned Club World Cup champions. The fierce clash was tipping towards boiling point in New York before tempers boiled over after the full-time whistle. There was a mass confrontation in the center circle as Chelsea players and staff flooded the pitch to celebrate the achievement. However, television cameras appeared to pick up the Champions League winning tactician lash out at the new Stamford Bridge hero, leaving Pedro in a heap. The tension spilt over with PSG heading towards a rare defeat after Chelsea denied them an unprecedented trophy haul after winning League One, both domestic cups, and the elite European competition. Both Enrique and Enzo Maresca were seen in the midst of the melee as representatives of both clubs tangled trying to separate after the incident. The Italian was seen in an intense conversation with fellow countryman Gianluigi Donnarumma after the commotion which was sparked shortly after the full-time whistle. João Neves was shown a straight red card during normal time after referee Larissa Fagani brandished a straight red card for the Portuguese starlet after the 20-year-old appeared to pull Marc Cucurella's hair, with the official sending him off after a VAR review. There were chaotic scenes following the full-time whistle in the Club World Cup final between Chelsea and PSG. Chelsea stunned the French giants with a relentless attacking display, stifling the Parisians who had previously torn apart Real Madrid on their way to the final at the MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. Cole Palmer continued his rich vein of form with 2 goals in 8 minutes to complete a first-half double. Pedro added his 3rd goal in 2 matches in the competition after a deft chip over Donnarumma handing Chelsea a surprise 3-goal lead in the opening 45. PSG, who had impervious throughout their historic season, were left shell-shocked, and it quickly turned sour with a number of high-profile incidents. Nunez had to be pulled away from Cucurella in the moments leading up to his dismissal as PSG grew frustrated, and Nuno Mendes was lucky to survive further action after a robust challenge on Christopher Nkunku. Though the ugly scenes in the United States didn't take the shine off the victory or the achievement from Chelsea, which sees them become the first team to win the new-look Club World Cup. In doing so, the club name and crest were etched on the trophy with their Premier League campaign due to begin in just over 4 weeks. The Blues are due to play Bayer Leverkusen and AC Milan before the curtain raises on the top-flight season at home to Crystal Palace on August 17th.